everyone, Karen Roby and Daphne Leprince-Ringuet for ZDNet, talking about attempting to understand YouTube's recommendation algorithm, which of course is something that is very difficult for people to do, Daphne. But you're talking about in this article about a group that is offering a browser extension to attempt to figure out this algorithm or what's going on with this. Talk a little bit more about this.
Yeah, exactly. So the browser extension is coming from the non-profit organization Mozilla, which is an organization that seeks to set up a more transparent and fairer internet. And what they've come up with is a browser extension that they've called the Regrets Reporter, that allows you to report to that browser extension whenever you find yourself watching a YouTube video that was recommended to you by YouTube and that you sort of wish you hadn't seen because it's offensive, because it's a bit borderline in its content, and things like that. So what this is called, according to Mozilla, is YouTube Regrets. They've been asking users to report their YouTube regrets for about a year now, and they figured out that it actually happens quite often that people are just browsing YouTube and then they end up on a video that will trigger the recommendation algorithm to recommend another video that is not one that they wish they'd seen. So for example, people watching drag queen shows got recommendations for homophobic content. So things like that, that's what a YouTube regret is. And now with this browser extension, users are able to actually report this and explain to Mozilla how they got there and what YouTube video triggered the recommendation algorithm to recommend this borderline content. The idea is to gather more insight into how YouTube's recommendation algorithm works, because it's been known for a few years now that there are issues with this algorithm, and particularly with the fact that it sometimes leads users to watch what is called borderline content. Now, borderline content is the content on YouTube that is almost crossing the line to harmful content. It's not deleted because it's not deemed harmful, but it's really close. And although it stays on YouTube and although it's meant to stay on YouTube, what's interesting to Mozilla is to find out whether YouTube is encouraging people to watch it through the algorithm and how. So the browser extension hopefully will give more insights into this. And it's definitely worth downloading to see what sort of videos will lead you to see YouTube regrets against your will in a way.
Yeah, and that's something that this isn't out of the blue. This is something we've all experienced, or most people, I think, in some way or heard about, that you're on something and then it recommends and leads you to something else that you don't want to see. What does YouTube say about it, or any chance that they'll do something about this?
Yeah, so as you said, it's something that we know about. There's even been reports about people sometimes leading to being radicalized as a result, not only of videos watched on YouTube, but partly enhanced and pushed by videos that they watched on YouTube that were recommended by the algorithm. And there have been multiple calls upon YouTube to change the algorithm, or at least to be more transparent about it. So the first thing that YouTube has done, they have acted on it. The first thing they've done has been to remove more content, which is probably the first step. They've adapted their policies so that the content that is deemed harmful is perhaps wider and will be deleted from the platform altogether. But that doesn't solve the problem of the recommendation algorithm, because in a way it's not even really the actual content that's problematic. It's the fact that there is an algorithm that might be pushing users to watch that content. And that's what Mozilla is asking for more transparency about, is to actually open up the algorithm so that everyone can understand how it's working and see how it's working and see if there's a problem, so that even if there is an algorithm, and let it be an algorithm by all means, at least we know what it's doing. That's something that YouTube has not provided. They've not opened up the algorithm. They have said that they've tweaked the algorithm and that they're working on it so that these videos that are deemed borderline are less recommended. They've said it's been efficient, but they've not really provided the data to back their claims. So really the solution here is for YouTube to improve on their transparency record and actually open up the algorithm to the general public. And that's something that they've not done yet.
So is this something, after you talked with, some of the folks behind it, and they of course have their opinions on it, and is it something that we should do, or people should look into?
Well, Yeah, it's certainly one tool where there was none before. Clearly, Mozilla, after having asked YouTube for years to be more transparent about this, are now going directly to the users in an attempt to get the data directly from the users when they can't get it from YouTube. So yes, it might be a good idea to download it, but then it's obviously not a perfect solution. It could lead to loads of bias. There's nothing stopping users from actively seeking out borderline content and then reporting it to bring in bias into the data that's going to be taken from that experiment. It's still an interesting tool to have, and it's still a tool to have. It might lead to more insights, but really the solution here is to keep pushing on YouTube's side to get a real effort from the side of YouTube itself to bring more transparency to this issue.
Very good. Well, certainly transparency is something we're all looking for, Daphne, and everything, YouTube, Facebook, all of it. So a good start and something to consider. Well, much more on this browser extension, of course, can be found in Daphne's article on ZDNet. We hope you guys will check it out there, and we appreciate you watching.